Hello and welcome to IAMC Radio and Podcast. Let's explore the top news headlines today, February 8th. We've got some international incidents demanding attention, political controversies brewing, and of course we can't forget about the latest in crime and justice.
It seems there's never a dull moment in the news cycle.
Absolutely not. Let's start with a story out of South Africa that's raising serious concerns about police brutality. The Nigerian Citizens Association in South Africa is demanding answers after the death of a Nigerian man in police custody, and this isn't an isolated incident.
Sadly, it's the second death of a Nigerian man under similar circumstances in less than a month. This time, it's 40-year-old Benjamin Okoli who died while in custody in Limpopo province. Just last month, we saw the death of Jeremiah Okoye, another Nigerian man also in police custody.
The details surrounding Okoli's death are especially troubling. Reports indicate that he and his brother were stopped and searched by police. Even though nothing was found, the officers allegedly took them back to their house for further inspection and then beat and tortured them.
Tragically, Okoli couldn't withstand the assault and fell into a coma. His brother tried to revive him, but it was too late. Paramedics later pronounced him dead.
This case has sparked outrage and grief in both South Africa and Nigeria. It's a stark reminder of the urgent need for police accountability and an end to violence against vulnerable communities.
The Nigerian Citizens Association in South Africa is calling on the Independent Police Investigative Directorate to conduct a thorough investigation to ensure justice is served and the officers responsible are held accountable.
Switching gears to another international incident, Kenya Airways is facing serious repercussions from the Nigeria Civil Aviation Authority for their mistreatment of a Nigerian passenger.
It's the story of Gloria Omisor that's been making the rounds online. She was flying from Lagos to the UK with a layover in Nairobi. Things took a turn for the worse when she was denied boarding because she didn't have a transit visa for France.
Being denied boarding is one thing, but what happened next is really what fueled public outrage. Mrs. Omisor was stranded for hours in Nairobi and then faced incredibly unprofessional and uncaring treatment from the Kenya Airways staff. And it was all caught on video.
The Nigeria Civil Aviation Authority is taking this very seriously and is initiating what they call stiff enforcement action against Kenya Airways for multiple violations of consumer protection regulations.
This situation really underscores the responsibility airlines have to their passengers and raises questions about the support provided to travelers, especially during unexpected situations. Now let's move from international incidents to the world of politics. Brazilian President Lula Da Silva has publicly criticized U.S. President Donald Trump's foreign policy, taking issue with Trump's statement that he was elected to govern the U.S., not to rule the world.
President Lula da Silva's comments reflect a growing concern among world leaders about President Trump's approach to global affairs. His statement highlights the importance of respecting national sovereignty and diplomacy rather than imposing one's will on other nations.
Meanwhile, President Trump is facing accusations on the home front. Ellen Weintraub, the chairperson of the U.S. Federal Election Commission, claims that Trump is illegally attempting to fire her.
Weintraub is adamant that there's a legal process for replacing commissioners and President Trump isn't following it. She's calling this an attempt to undermine the independence of the FEC, which is responsible for enforcing campaign finance laws in the U.S.
This situation adds another layer of complexity to the already tense political climate in the U.S., raising questions about motives and the potential impact on the integrity of the electoral process.
Now, shifting our attention back to Nigeria, we have news that President Bola Tinubu has ordered a cleanup of the National Identity Management Commission database after a startling discovery.
It was found that over 6,000 Niger Republic nationals had fraudulently obtained Nigerian national identification numbers. This raises serious concerns about the security and integrity of the NIN system.
It appears these fraudulent registrations were facilitated by fake NIMC agents operating in border communities. This incident underscores the need for stronger security measures to prevent identity theft and ensure that only eligible individuals are enrolled in the NIN database.
President Tinubu's order for a database cleanup is a crucial step to address this issue and restore public trust in the NIN system. Accurate records are essential for preventing the misuse of these important identification credentials.
From matters of national security, let's shift our focus to a tragic discovery in Anambra State.
It's the unfortunate end to a kidnapping case that gripped the region. The body of Anambra State lawmaker Justice Azuka, who was kidnapped in December, was found near the Second Niger Bridge.
This case highlights the persistent dangers of kidnapping in Nigeria and the devastating toll it takes on victims and their families. It underscores the urgent need for stronger security measures and a comprehensive strategy to combat this type of crime.
While the discovery is heartbreaking, there is a glimmer of hope. Police have arrested 9 suspects connected to Azuka's kidnapping and murder.
That's right. And during the operation, they recovered 2 pump-action guns. One suspect was even injured during a shootout with the police.
In a separate but related operation, police also arrested a kidnapped suspect in Ninui and neutralized several members of his gang who had a history of attacking police officers.
These successful operations are a testament to the dedication of law enforcement agencies in their fight against crime. It's encouraging to see progress in dismantling criminal networks and holding those responsible accountable for their actions.
The police commissioner in Anambra State reported that over 100 criminals have been neutralized and numerous criminal camps destroyed in recent operations across the state. This sends a clear message that criminal activity will not be tolerated, and law enforcement is actively working to protect citizens.
And now for our final story, let's return to U.S. politics, where President Trump has made a controversial decision. He has revoked former President Joe Biden's security clearance.
This move has certainly sent shockwaves through the political landscape. President Trump cited erratic behavior and a lack of need for Biden to access classified information as justification for this action.
He also claimed that Biden set a precedent by revoking his security clearance back in 2021. Additionally, President Trump pointed to Special Counsel Robert Hur's report, which raised concerns about Biden's handling of classified documents during his time as vice president. The report highlighted worries regarding Biden's memory and his ability to safeguard sensitive information.
Revoking a former president's security clearance is incredibly rare. This decision raises serious questions about the motivations behind it and has reignited debates about the appropriate use of security clearances and their implications for national security.
Some view this as a politically motivated act of retaliation, while others argue that it's a legitimate security concern. This move by President Trump has undoubtedly heightened tensions, and the long-term consequences remain to be seen.
It's worth noting that this isn't the first time President Trump has revoked security clearances. Early in his presidency, he took similar action against former intelligence officials who publicly questioned the legitimacy of information found on Hunter Biden's laptop.
This pattern of revoking security clearances from individuals who have been critical of President Trump or his administration has fueled concerns about potential political retaliation and the suppression of dissenting voices.
So we've covered a lot of ground today, haven't we? It seems the world just keeps getting more complex and unpredictable.
It certainly does. But hopefully by exploring these news stories, we can all gain a better understanding of the forces at play and the challenges we face.
I agree. And if anything, today's exploration shows us that it's more important than ever to stay informed, engage in thoughtful dialogue, and continue to ask critical questions. What do you think, listener? Are any of these stories particularly striking to you? What connections are you making to your own life and experiences?
We encourage you to continue exploring these issues, seeking out diverse perspectives, and finding ways to make a positive impact in your own community.
Thank you for joining us on this exploration of today's top news headlines.
It's clear that both the international and domestic political landscapes are constantly shifting and full of unexpected turns.
Absolutely, and these headlines really underscore the complex challenges and tensions we're facing on a global scale. From police brutality and questions of accountability to political controversies and national security concerns, there's a lot to unpack.
It's a reminder of the importance of transparency, justice, and the balance of power.
It's crucial for us to stay informed, engaged, and continue to demand accountability from our leaders.
And as we navigate these turbulent times, let's not forget the human impact of these stories. Think of the families mourning the loss of loved ones, the individuals fighting for their rights, and the communities striving for peace and justice.
Their stories matter, and we have a responsibility to listen to them and advocate for a more just and equitable world.
So as we wrap up our exploration of today's top news headlines, let's remember that these aren't just abstract events. They have real consequences for real people. Let's keep the conversation going, seek out diverse perspectives, and work towards positive change.
Thank you for listening to today's top news headlines on IAMC Radio and Podcast.